Hey gang, Volty here. Today's deck is going to be one for the combo aficionados out there. I've really struggled to make 8-point combo decks just because some of the best cards are on the reserve list, namely Mox Diamond, for example, Tolarian Academy. However, I wanted to see if this was a direction I could take, and it was very much inspired by the modern deck of Ruby Storm. I think it has legs. I'm fairly confident that there's enough going on in the deck and that you have a lot of different options in terms of how you approach game states. So I think it might be viable, and I'm excited to find out over the coming months. So let's get started. For our creatures, we have Ral and Burgee. So Ral is a medallion. It makes your instants and sorceries cost less, and then once you cast enough spells and you win a flip, you can draw some cards with Ral by flipping it and flipping the top 8 cards of your library. Burgee, rather than being a medallion, generates mana. So if your spells are already reduced to just the single coloured pip, in order to cast them, you can start generating red mana with Burgee, and the backside allows you to rip through your deck if you need to cast that instead. You can discard a card, exile the top 2 and play one of those, and you can start ripping through. For our sorceries, we have quite a lot. So we'll go through them. We have a couple of discard spells as well as spells to check the opponent's hand, like Ataxian Probe. We have obviously a series of rituals, Rite of Flame, Strike it Rich, which isn't a ritual unless you have a critical mass of pieces. However, it can help with some setup turns. We also have a Jeskai Will, which can be a ritual, but otherwise the bulk of the sorceries are card draw spells. So we've got, Highway Robbery, Nice Whisper, all of the impulse effects, Ecstatic Beauty, and Glimpse the Impossible, which are the big versions, and then Fatal Fluting as well. Then we have our tutors. So we've got Gamble, we've got Demonic Tutor, we have Burning Wish, which is a wish for our sideboard, as well as the actual card wish, and then we have our big payoff spells. So we've got Bonus Round. If you can cast Bonus Round off an Overmaster to make sure that's uncounterable, realistically you should be able to win that turn without too much stress. So it's definitely a card that you're going to be tutoring for pretty often, because it really sets up the huge turns. Otherwise, we've got a Galvanic Relay, which lets us keep going, and a Past in Flames, which is our Yawgmoth's Will impression. This deck doesn't have actual Yawgmoth's Will, just because of how some of the interactions work. But otherwise, Past in Flames will get the job done 9 times out of 10. For instance, we have a bunch of rituals, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and all of the red rituals that are instants. Past in Flames is in the sorceries. We also have a Rain of Filth, which lets us generate a critical mass of black mana on the turn that we're going off, and then March of Reckless Joy, which is another Reckless Impulse variant. For artifacts, we have most of our points, but otherwise we've got a bunch of mana. So we've got Chrome Mox, we've got Lotus Petal, we've got Mox Opal, Mana Vault, and Sol Ring. Defense Grid is a way to protect us. Helm of Awakening and Ruby Medallion are our medallions, and then a One Ring because it's just a generically good card. And we can rip through our deck. Realistically, you're going to be playing it, drawing a card, untap, drawing 2 cards, and then going for the win. So nothing too crazy in the artifact slots. For enchantments, we have Artist Talent. This is the card I'm least convinced is correct, but this was part of why I wanted to build this deck. A viewer wanted to see if I could make a deck that included Artist Talent and really showcase the different bits of it. So when you cast a non-creature spell, you can rummage, you can discard a card and draw a card. That's very potent with things like Baubles, making sure that your extra lands in hand that you don't need on your combo turn can turn into spells. At 5 mana, so 2 and then 3, you get a medallion. So you get your non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast. This then can generate you mana, rip through your deck, and hopefully win the game. Realistically, we're not going to be level 3ing the Artist Talent, but in theory, if you were casting, a Grape Shot because you wanted to play a Grape Shot on your sideboard, then each of those would do 3 damage. Mana base, nothing crazy, no utility lands, all of our lands just make mana. There's a Great Furnace and a Volta Whispers for our Mox Opal, but otherwise everything here is just mana. So for our sideboard, we have our wish board, and this is where the bulk of our win cons are. We have a Tendrils, we have an Empty the Warrens, we have a Grape Shot. These are going to be the pretty bread and butter ways to win the game. Then for the rest of our sideboard, it's basically a bunch of interaction. So we have Bifrost and Shattering Spree to hit artifacts. We have Fatal Push, Feed the Swarm, Fire Covenant, and Pyroclasm, which hit creatures, as well as the Deluge, We've got our 2 Rebs to protect our combo, Bitter Ordeals for combo mirrors, and then a Blood Moon to round it out. This deck was a really interesting challenge to build. I worked on it and workshopped it for a while, and I genuinely think if you're looking to play an 8-point combo deck that isn't just a combo win in a control deck or in a tempo deck, then this might be something that would appeal to you. If you've been playing Ruby Storm in Modern, then this also might appeal to you in that sense. And notably as well, the bulk of the deck is quite cheap. All of the rituals and spells are, sub $10, sub $5, and then the bulk of the mana is in like the mana base and the One Ring and, a couple of other cards. Otherwise, for the combo players out there, I'm trying not to leave you behind during the deck building series. Every now and then, a dedicated combo deck is going to come through. It's just that with the restriction of 8 points and not being able to play things like Mox Diamond and Tolarian Academy, it is quite difficult to make some combo decks, but I will keep trying. But otherwise, if you decide to play this deck, let me know. Let me know how it goes. There's quite a lot of room to tinker with it. There's a lot of different spells that you can take out if you don't like them, and you can change the wish board. But otherwise, the deck list will be in the description below. This video was brought to you with the help and support of my patrons and donors. If you'd like to support me and the content and see your name up here on screen, you can feel free to click the links below to the Ko-Fi and the Patreon. If you like the content, please do consider subscribing. It does help the channel out a lot, and you'll be notified of upcoming videos in advance. But otherwise, leave a like if you like the video, and I'll catch you next time.